It's so noisy here. So how dated is this? We are live streaming at a Starbucks cafe now.
It looks like we're in with Stranger Things in the 80s mall. You want a gyro? Some pizza, some burros?
So here's the trick. If we keep on talking, then the music is drowned out. The minute we get quiet, then you'll hear the music, right? So we have a lot to talk about. That shouldn't be a problem. First check is audio. How's our audio, everyone? Let us know. Thank you for coming by. And, well, we got a lot of things to talk about today. We're going to go over a few things. I just want to confirm audio before we jump in. Now, we saw a lot of exciting things today, especially Sony. We dropped by Sony, the secret black box presentation.
So Sony, no TVs at CES, but a few of us were invited to a very exclusive sneak peek into what they're really working on in regards to that 4,000 nits.
Okay, give me a second. Let me try to fix audio here. Audio is garbled. You know what? Let's try to change something. Where is... Where'd my phone go?
Need more bit rate.
Okay, maybe this will be better.
You know what stops the FOMO? Bad Wi-Fi connection. You guys need to buy your own Wi-Fi hotspot. Stop being cheap.
Well, we do have a hotspot.
Your room's like $3,000.
Okay, so I am using my own hotspot. That's the problem. I'm on my own hotspot.
Stop being cheap.
Okay.
Flight was like $2,000.
I know. No, trust me.
Oh my God.
Wait, we're almost on. It's connecting to my hotspot. Okay, is this cleaner? It should be. Should be. Yep. Hotspot shows better. It's a little better, yeah. I gave up on, well, I have a hotspot, but a hotspot is not really good. Okay, look, everything is still good. This is good, Michael. Oh, okay, so we have Dolby Atmos quality now. Hopefully that's a good thing. Okay, so today we got a close-up of Hisense and we got a close-up of Sony. And before we jump into that close-up, I wanted to share a story. On our way to the Sony special presentation, we passed by this amazing aquarium that was long and it went across the registration area, right? And both Brian and I looked at it and we looked at each other. We got fishes, and I said, the blacks are a little lifted.
A little lifted. I'm like, and those blues aren't lifelike.
And I'm like, and the contrast, and I'm like, they should move to OLED. And we both looked at each other, but damn, that's a real aquarium.
That's a real aquarium. We're judging, like, those fish don't look lifelike. They're alive and everything.
And the sharpness, because they didn't clean the glass.
They clean it. Little Windex.
720p.
Increase the resolution. It's like our stream right now.
It was a perfect intro into walking into Sony.
Like, what are we looking? Are we looking for true life or what we wanted to?
Well, that was at the Mirage. It was at the Mirage. Oh boy, Mirage is such an old hotel.
Feel like a casino, the movie.
It's from the 80s for sure. Okay, so you want to start with Sony first, since people are saying you want to start with Hisense.
I mean, Hisense is a longer conversation. Sony, I think, is an interesting conversation because this 4,000 nit, why it's being introduced is not what we...
Let's tell the story. So the 4,000 nit was as we expected, but it was a lot deeper than that. So a lot of you, and I agree with you, right? Why is it only 1,000 nits up to this point? Why is 1,000 nits still prevalent? And many of us thought it was maybe creators' intent. The creators aren't interested in 4,000 nits. Maybe the creators were not used to it. They're not comfortable with
their taste. They wanted it to be more natural.
No. And what Sony explained to us, the problem is with their old mastering monitors, right? That's only limited to 1,000 nits. If you wanted 4,000, you'd have to do a few passes. You do the 1,000 nit or less content first. Then you go back and you regrade it at 4,000 or higher. That's extra time. And if the budget, the movie budget, the TV show budget doesn't allow for that, you run one pass and you're done.
It's
you're
too
not
long, too arduous, too long.
And it's cost
And
prohibitive.
it's probably unstable as well.
And so it's expensive. And so Sony said, even though they may pay more for this mastering monitor that's 4,000, they could do 4,000 nit content regularly on one pass, and that allows them to reduce the cost that it would have been had they done low bit rate or not low bit, low or medium brightness up to 1,000, then the high peak brightness. Those additional layers was very expensive. So this solved the problem, and it was because Hollywood production companies asked them, the studios, all those guys, they reached out to Sony. Guys, we're not doing 4,000 because the mastering monitor requires too much time to do it. Get us a 4,000 nit monitor. We will do 4,000 nits. So Sony's like, done.
Well, and there was another Dolby monitor that everyone else was using. They were using that in tandem that they discontinued.
Yes.
So through no fault of their own, they decided to create one that's capable of 4,000. They did have one that was 1,000 full field, but still wasn't what they needed for HDR. So we thought they were creating the movies for 4,000 nits to move the needle.
Move it.
They're actually putting the reference monitors out there.
Because the studios were ready to move the needle. Now, Sony obviously is going to do their part as a studio themselves, but there are other studios, the studio clients that bought their monitors were like, no, we'd love to do 4,000, but we're not going to do it on a 1,000 nit monitor. So now that it's there, right? So that's the genesis of why there's a 4,000 nit monitor. And so now that we have the 4,000 nit monitor, and that was the intro that Sony presented, they wanted to show off how do you do 4,000 nits correctly, meaning it is brighter, it'll introduce blooming, all these things. And so what was cool was they compared their prototype, and I have to say prototype because there's no model number connected to it. But before we talk about the prototype, I forgot about it is a direct descendant of the technology of
backlight master drive Z9D.
This is truly the successor.
So the iterations of the Z9D, other than the Z9G, were a component or a part of the backlight versus a AI or a technology. So they're looking. Oh, thank you, Red. I would love one. What I thought was interesting though too is what Rob had said about Rob Brennan was there, and the answer to your question is yes, we do. Simply because it's the black level, the specular highlights, and the shadow detail, all three. Where we compromise with bright OLEDs, we still lose shadow detail. With LEDs, we lose color and we have blooming. Or we have technologies that gray it out. What we're hoping to with this technology is give you all three.
And this is a good point, Manuel. What's the point of surpassing 4,000 nits? And nobody says something about eye care. Is it bad for your eyes? And so just to give you context, we're not talking 4,000 nits the entire TV. Little points, maybe 1%, 2%, 3%, up to 4 or 5%, right? And if you've ever walked into the park or sit at home and sun is shining through your window, that's 100,000 nits. Your eyes are okay at 4,000. I mean, Dolby Vision wants 10,000. 4,000 is considered the additional impact. And we were there and we saw samples of 4,000 nits, what it would look like, how Sony would envision it being used. It was brighter, but it wasn't bright.
It still seemed controlled, but what it was more interesting was the amount of color that it put back in the image. Where when we saw even the QD OLED versus WRGB OLED yesterday at Samsung displays, the WRGB OLED almost looked as bright, but it lost the color. This is that with the brightness and the color and the shadow detail that the QD OLED would lose. There's no way to retain it with QD OLED.
And Kasi says, hey, you're starting these live streams early. Unfortunately,
we're 3 hours. Well, I don't know. This is your time zone.
So I have to have a couple of deliverables before the end of tonight. I have to post. So I have to get this done, live stream, talk to you guys, get back to work. And I didn't want to stay up too late. And tomorrow morning, first thing, I promised TCL I'd shoot them. And they give me some time with their people. So in order to meet all these schedules,
we spent all day with Hisense today. So
our schedule is so booked. So we try to fit in the live streams where we can. And originally, these live streams were set at different times, but then the TV companies call us, hey guys, you got to move. And so Sony
Yeah.
originally was tomorrow, is now today. TCL, which was today, is now tomorrow. So
Well, and the Sony
we're
one,
rolling with it.
Sony was very exclusive, but it was. We can say what we saw in terms of the way they were able to show. Well, I can tell you one thing that Rob said on one of my videos.
Rob Brennan of
Rob
Sony.
Brennan of Sony, if you guys remember, he's been on my channel many times. He talked about how Sony uses the light enhancer, and he had a competitor and the A95L in standard mode with all the bells and whistles out of the box. Then he had Minority Report playing. He had the light enhancer on the Sony. Then he turned off the lights and watched the light enhancer go. There was also reference monitor there. Watching the A95L actually look almost like the reference monitor using the light sensor. So meaning the light sensor wasn't there to preserve energy.
Right.
It was there to make the image accurate in the dark. Meaning the standard mode is great for bright room. The competitor didn't change at all, even with the light sensor on. So it went from being better in bright room to perfect in dark room. That kind of technology. And then discussing what they mean by this prototype's local dimming, what it does versus the competitor's local dimming.
So the competitor's local dimming, that was the fun part. So obviously, and they were very open. This is a Samsung TV. This is a Samsung qned. This is our prototype. Let's pull back the LCD and see how these dimming zones work. And so they cut.
Well, no, tell it this way.
Okay. Yeah.
They obviously can open their own TVs, and even though Rob and all those guys know people at Samsung, they would not allow them to open the TV
using software.
Because
they could disable the LCD.
Disable it and see it.
Right.
Instead, they took a hacksaw and they cut it down the middle. And it was, did you subscribe yet, Mark? So they cut it down the middle to show what the backlight does in all content. Everything, what's up, Lisa? From the logos to just regular content, a car driving. Watching the Samsung's local dimming was insane, right? What did you see? I mean, we can see the difference. And by the way, this was a 300 zones on the Samsung versus 700 zones
700
versus the prototype.
And what was interesting, so this is what was interesting. We saw the local dimming zones in action, and it was amazing how the Sonys had different settings, meaning you could turn it off completely for a perfect blacks, and you had in between, bright and off. Whereas on the Samsung, it was either on, off, but not very much in the middle. So it felt very, very raw, right? And I was very surprised. I thought Samsung would be more sophisticated. But to be fair, Sony, this is the first time they've done something like this anyway.
So what we saw on the Samsung is if it was blue, they're blue, or they're bluish white. When you cut it out, it's just all blue. And then it dims and it's all blue. On the Sony, you can actually still see the image.
Yeah.
And the zones were lighting up around the shapes, where on the Samsung it was almost always a solid color when it was lit up. Then when it was dark, they would shut down as low as they could.
Mm-hmm.
But the Sony, you could still make out the image through the backlight layer, which is insane.
And let's check some questions real quick. I saw some good ones. I'll just go backwards. Brandon, are the new QD OLED monitors 3000 nits? I don't know about the LG, whether the G4 technology is on it, but the new QD OLED monitors that are using 3rd gen, they're capable of very bright. It's up to the monitor makers to put that in.
Yeah,
so, yeah, it could be, but it's hard to say because maybe they might pull it back for longevity purposes. And there was another good question here. Oh, yeah. Right here. Here's a good one. What's that? Sony Mini LED prototype had more shadow detail than QD OLED. Well, of course. It was interesting. There was this one scene where near black, the QD OLED, the S95C, it was struggling between just above black. Whereas on the Sony, it did that perfectly. And Rob was very fair and says, this is a scene where they struggled. So we made this content to let you see. There are scenes where QD OLED struggles, but the Mini LED doesn't. But of course, there are scenes that you guys know that Mini LED will struggle, certain blooming scenes or whatever, but they wanted you to see that QD OLED is not perfect. And we saw that during our calibrations and stuff.
Yeah.
Near black, Sony A95L is struggling right now.
Well, it was a Chinese lantern with a red velvet behind it, and then it was all black. So the Samsung had the lantern with a lot of color. Then it lost the drape. The X95L, it was bright, but it lost the color of the lantern and had some blooming. The middle prototype saved them all and had very minimal blooming. If anything, it had a little hue because we were pretty much off end. But it was also 4,000 nits.
And there were some scenes where I noticed that the QD OLED has slightly better contrast. So I was looking for that. And Rob was very open to this. This is not replacing OLED. OLED will beat it hands down in certain scenes.
Micro contrast.
But this is an alternative where you want 4,000 nits and you're not getting it with OLED. Any OLED right now, this is an option. And I want to hit this question. Let me ask, have a question about streaming content. I bought 4K version of Deathly Hollows. It just doesn't have Dolby Vision, but Apple TV plays it in Dolby Vision. And this is what I talked to you guys about. It's easy to add a Dolby Vision filter. It doesn't necessarily mean that some guy sat there and regraded it in Dolby Vision. No. Apple TV can send it through a static Dolby Vision filter. Now, we don't know how they did it. Maybe they did remaster it, but ultimately, Dolby Vision is also a container. And so, you know, does it look different?
I would just disable it. If it doesn't have it, I wouldn't want to see it in the filter.
Right. So don't worry about that for sure. And someone asked about a QM8 98-inch TV. Should I get it now? Should I wait? We saw some amazing 98-inch TVs, or 100, 110. We're going to talk about it in a second. But before we leave Sony, there was one thing I wanted to say as well, which is we don't know when this TV is coming out. They didn't say it's coming out this year. They didn't say to wait for it. They just wanted to let you know this is the future. They're working on it, and they're this close to a final product. Did you get an inkling will come out this year?
Which one?
The prototype.
Oh, no. I don't think it was come out. It would because it wouldn't be a prototype. It was still very raw. I'd say next year.
Excellent question, CJ. Will the TV market revolve around mastering monitors? Let's put the TV market aside. Will the content creators revolve around mastering monitors? And that's a whole new thing. They used to make it for movie theaters.
So that was what we said about
was
so interesting. We talked about the reference monitor. Reference monitor, they use that to go to the theater because obviously those would have been in place before streaming became something. Then they worried about home releases later. Projectors always outpaced TVs, but for many, many years, TVs have been brighter than projectors, and now it's the other way around. So to have something that can be made for home is actually the way it should be. The reference monitor should match home and the theater at the same time.
They can do both. And with 4,000 nits, they can.
They can.
Because they've always
projectors are going to struggle
to grade separately for the theater because the theater is so much dimmer, right?
Yeah.
When you grade for the home, it could go so much brighter. It's literally two different formats now. If you tried to play the theater version in your home, you'd be unhappy. You wouldn't have the spectral highlights.
Yeah.
And the theater is an SDR, even with a laser projector. It doesn't get you the same HDR impact. Perfect blacks, not in the theater, right? So, is our audio still bad? Because Doris is like, I can't hear a word. Maybe she's talking to her kids. I don't know. Now, with the Sony also, I love that they just wanted to point out where that 4,000 nits came from. So it's not them saying, you want 4,000 nits, but it's the studio, the Hollywood studios telling them, we want 4,000 nits. Sony, you're the only one that makes reference monitors.
I thought Sony Pictures was pulling a fast one and saying, you know what, let's make a couple movies. And then say, hey, Gemini Man Part 2 will be 4,000 nits. It's really the monitor they needed. So, I mean, that's pretty amazing. You know.
Right. And then someone mentioned Samsung's matte finish or the anti-glare is somehow this new amazing feature. So I think before we jump into Hisense, which I'm so happy, you'll love what I have to say about Hisense. Before we jump into that, I just wanted to take the good cop, bad cop on this because Brian is just
for which part? Which
you hate anti-glare.
I can't
Brian's like, it is dead in the water. It is not going to survive.
My prediction. Well, our prediction is simple. We think it'll succeed in terms of people buying it.
The S95C with the anti-glare.
Because I think even in store, an enthusiast is going to know what it is and not want it but whoever else is looking and they see how it pops in a store. But my point about the anti-glare is it's so good that in a bright room, the whole image is visible.
Right.
But you lose the contrast and the sharpness. Next to a regular OLED, yes, the glare is unbearable. You can see like you see each other, but anything you can still see is clean.
Right.
So that's what I didn't like, is it does serve its purpose. I can't remember his name, I'm sorry. I had him turn the lights off.
Florian was doing
So
the
he
demo.
was amazing. He turned the lights off for me. The WRGB OLED still looked to have more pop to me,
right.
which defeats the purpose of QD OLED for me.
And
period.
My response, and I'm not disagreeing with
whatever
you,
you said, is the end of it. We're done. I'm out.
I got these in Japan, by the way. Thanks, CMS, for noticing.
What the hell? You pull out a piece of paper.
So this is my argument. We as enthusiasts, and I agree with Brian, I noticed a slight drop in contrast. I definitely noticed a slight jump in the black level. I mean, it feels like with the lights on, it doesn't get perfect blacks. With the lights off, then the black got better. And the contrast, it felt like it suffered, but I don't know if it would survive a measurement, because it should. Maybe it's just perceptual, but this is what I'm saying. Imagine this condition. You got a Best Buy, you got a Costco, right? And you have two TVs, high gloss, reflection everywhere, and you have the Samsung, and you bring your significant other, spouse, who is not a TV fan. This is the same person where you say, look at my OLED, honey. She's like, you change TVs? I don't notice the difference. But you have it on the showroom, she'll notice the glare, and then the salesman says, well, this Sony A95L has glare, this one doesn't. They cost similar, what do you want? She's going to say, honey, I want the anti-glare. And the husband will be, but, he's going to argue, deep lashes. What are you talking about? Glare is obvious to the average person. And I bet you this was decided in a focus group where they show people, hey, what do you like better?
Yeah.
What do you like better? And they'll see the glare. I don't like the glare. As a business argument.
To make money, yes.
Remember what we've said. The frame is so popular. The frame. And we know the frame.
What an amazing TV, by the way.
Yeah, right. So what they've done is they're asking themselves, what makes the frame amazing is partly the anti-glare. Let's move some of that over to the Samsung. And I see it's an experiment. If it sells, we're stuck with it. If it doesn't sell,
so
my man.
The challenge is that the G4 is a beast, and the S90 I think will be less so. It may be more of the same, which will still be good enough to beat the C4, but it's not going to compete with
this one's really matte. This is
not semi-matte bat tack. This is matte.
You see
so
it's
there aren't any other than the frame that are matte. So I know what you're saying. What I'm telling you is that even when the TV was off, it looked like it was on with flat black. It was so uniform. It looked like it was almost a fabric.
It looks like the frame almost.
We're
almost there.
It's not like that matte semi-gloss that we see that's kind of muddy on the X90L or any of those TVs. That's not it. That's not what we're talking about. This is very different.
Now, Justin Ta has a great segue, 110 UX without the stand. So I would like to say, and I'm so happy they did this. Remember last year we saw the 110 UX. It was 8K. And I spoke to Wood.
He just ruined it.
It was 8K. And I, because, cat's out of the bag. But the whole time I was like, I'm so down, right? Because there's an 8K sign all over it. And they're like, oh no, by the way, the one for the USA market, it's 4K. I'm like,
yeah.
Only the USA market gets the 4K 110-inch, and it's 10,000 nits, and I know that is why. Because I told the reps of the Hisense, guys, if you want to go brighter, get rid of the 8K.
Can't do the 8K.
Our people would appreciate 4K, but bright. Image control, all that stuff. But 8K image processing is also hard. Are you sneezing into my mic?
Yeah, I covered it. The boozy.
He's allergic to Sbarro.
I know. I'm like, hey, bring it over here, baby.
And I told them, 8K, more energy, and you make it brighter. It just ruins a lot of other things, right? It's just a cascade. And so when I heard they brought 4K, I was like, it's got to be me convincing them to do it. And to answer your question, Justin, they are considering selling it separately, meaning that base, that's also a speaker system with sound woofer. They haven't decided exactly how it's going to come, but I strongly encourage them sell everything separate. Let the consumer decide: is it going to be wall mounted? Is it going to have a stand, or is it going to have a giant whatever? And then sell it with a basic stand. Have an added thing later. It's like, all right, that sounds good.
Well, it's hard to pay for the extra things you don't want,
Right.
because you're also paying an additional couple thousand for something like that, right? So,
and that's another thing. Now they can't share prices at this time because they're still deciding what are the final accessories. But the fact that it's 4K, how much cheaper is it? Because 8K is always more expensive because it requires a bit more engineering to get it to work better. So it'll be more affordable.
So what I heard slip from some of the Hisense people was, for that particular lineup, like the Hisense UX, they're going to charge a premium for it. They're not looking. They know that technology, what it's capable of. They're going to bump back on saying that it's a value brand. It's not. I mean, just the materials alone. It's thick. It's beautiful. They're going to be expensive. Don't expect to have them come out and be affordable at one. This isn't going to be a Getty G-Man. Take it back for $100, $300 back, bring it back in your window. This is going to be $6,000, $7,000. Well, it's 110. It'll be $8,000 or $9,000.
And that's a good segue to mention a bit about TCL now.
My coverage
of TCL starts tomorrow because today was all about Hisense and Hisense and Sony. But TCL, I don't believe, has a 110-inch. We'll find out tomorrow. This is how Hisense is going to separate itself. They know their competitor is TCL, both in value, performance, all of that, right? You guys know I love the Qned. I felt it did a little bit better than U8K. This guy likes the Hisense better.
Yeah, I like the Qned. It depends. It's all about their signatures. Like, for instance, Josh AK, real quick.
Josh AK.
Mark.
He still got his plasma.
Mark built the plasma. Him and his engineering posse. It's a nuclear pioneer. Come on. So Josh AK, which you'll be thrilled to know, is Samsung is doubling down on 8K, which is fascinating because clearly when FOMO said to them last year, no, do 4K, they misheard him, because now we're going 4,000 nits. But
10,000.
What's that?
10,000.
Oh no, I mean Sony's 4,000.
Yeah, 4,000. Right.
But Samsung, with their algorithm and their processing, they're looking to make the super resolution upscaling very noticeable. So 8K, there'll be a reason to buy it. I don't have a lot of faith in the 4K QLED line this year. I was not impressed with it at all. It was just thrown in the corner. So I think they're going to let that kind of fade out, but they're going 8K.
Yep. And this is a good point also, is the 98-inch. That 110-inch UX, that UX will come to the USA as a 98-inch model as well. Yeah. They'll have two models, 98 and 110. The 110-inch is 10,000 nits, 40,000 dimming zones. The 98-inch is 5,000 nits, pretty good, and 10,000 dimming zones. So depending, I mean, you're going to go...
Which one was 10,000 nits with a 4K? What were the 8K ones, 5,000?
They won't say, because all these specs for USA. The 8K, we don't know what the specs are, but for the USA, that 10,000 nits on the 110-inch 4K and the 98-inch 4K UX. That's pretty cool. It gives them options because if you're on a budget, let's say you can only afford, like you said, $5 or $6 maybe, or less than $5 or $6. 98-inch is pretty
It's like that wasn't a lot of money.
I think it's worth $3,000. You get
our flights in our room.
You still get 5,000 nits and 10,000 dimming zones, which is similar to what TCL is bringing to the table recently. Now, we're going to talk to TCL tomorrow.
What you guys will love, though, while we're filming Hisense.
Oh, this is best.
Right? So we're filming Hisense, and I'm talking to Bruce, who is one of the head TV guys for Hisense. And he's, looking over at them. Yeah, turn their music down. Because behind me is a former pro football player who's, like, running people through skill. He's like, come on. He's, like, doing a whole football field behind us. So they had their skill challenge video game. TCL had their best TVs right here. So Bruce is like, Hisense had their best TVs facing that. And then as he's like, you got to turn your music down, Bruce, another big guy from TCL, comes out. Don't listen to that. It was like they were neighbors yelling back and forth. You got to turn your music down.
It's like LG and Samsung all over again.
But they were literally right next to each other.
No, and the best part is,
it was awesome. Man.
TCL and Hisense are Chinese companies. Bruce and Bruce were both like white,
Big
tough
white
guys,
guys.
right? Shaved head.
Shaved
You
head.
know, like,
Like, get your crap out of my yard. It was
dude,
cool, man.
Cultural dissonance. I love it.
It's cool.
And now, this is a comment I wanted to hit. CES, Hammer Joe, and this is a good point. Is this the event that manufacturers tell us 2024 models have the real picture?
I wouldn't
and
go
last year's
that
TVs
far,
are actually
Joe.
crap? And okay, we don't want to say crap, obviously, because I think it's slightly better. And they did a good job of showing that slight betterness. Samsung Display showed last year's QD-OLED and this year's. You saw this year's was brighter, but last year's still looked great. The issue is when you have them side by side, you see the difference. Well, to be honest, I thought the U8H last year looked almost as good as U8K this year from 2023.
Yeah, well, U8K was U8H was special TV.
It was really.
It was more like a TCL actually. But to your point, Joe, I mean, I understand that it's a little sour grapes, but keep in mind they have to get better. They have to sell new TVs. The thing is, they are incrementally better is all you can hope for.
Yeah.
But as long as it's better, you don't want to go backwards. But what do you guys want them to do? Not improve? Not a single one of them said, well, compared to last year's crap we had out here,
this year's worse.
They don't do that. They're not like, hey, that thing was that was even worse. We lost our budget.
Between me and you,
that thing was garbage.
Wait till next year.
So I mean, just like I got people that bought. Everyone's gonna be mad at me about their A80L purchases.
Oh wait, A80L. So let's do this drama right now.
Oh
right?
my god!
So the minute I heard the G4 had MLA,
I wasn't even phased.
And then Brian's like, I just imagine Brian. Oh, this 83-inch A80L. God's
XR
dream,
clear.
Right? XR clear.
Good to go.
And then I go, Brian, guess what? The G4 comes in an 83-inch MLA.
I said, well, my connection's bad. I'm paying my phone bill.
It's brighter. It's got this new processor. Looks like it's as good as
nonsense.
XR clear. And he's like, what?
So I didn't feel any FOMO because I love the A80L. Guys, gotta keep in mind again, if you bought an A80L at 83 inches, you did not pay $7,000 for it. So I know people are gonna say, I wish I waited. Well, you're gonna say, I wish I waited and I wish I had $4 more grand. Never forget that.
So let's stop there. You got yours for a little over 4,000. That's how much the A80, no, 83 inches. Over $4 grand or over 4, right?
Yeah, it's an 83.
This new one is for sure going to be closer to 6, above 5.
Yeah.
So ultimately, he's still saving $1,500. So a lot of you ask me, is it worth $1,500 more? That's the question always. For some people that can afford it, of course, why not?
And here's the thing is, that's always going to be, LG still has its own look. Yeah. It still has its own signature. The A80L is not worse because the G4 is releasing. The G4 doesn't care about the A80L. It's got to go after the S90.
But to be fair to you, you announced the winner of 2024 already.
It's done.
He said the G4.
I'm not even making any more videos after tonight. It's over.
Like, the G4 is won. I'm like, what are you talking about? Well,
the G4 is going to win.
Sony is not coming out with anything. We know Samsung is mad. What does that mean?
I'm telling you, the math thing's a problem. I don't even want to answer my comments.
G4 wins by default. Yeah, not to say
the comments on my videos, you think that I built it. They're like, what are you thinking, bro? Look at my shirt. It's matte. like I made the video and I was up there putting the screen together.
It was your fault. It's like, if the 110 is 4K, I'm going to get personal messages. I was waiting for 8K FOMO. You ruined it for all of us.
Oh my God. Josh 8K is like, I'm out. Unsubscribe. Boop.
Well, speaking of 8K, someone did ask.
I can't wait to get an 8K now.
Did LG stop doing 8K?
No, LG still has the Z3.
And the QNED 99.
The QNED 99. So 8K is back. Where I think they're inconsistent in their message is the Z3 was out last year in Japan. So was the Z9L.
Yeah.
So the point is the Z3 does not have the new processor unless they saw the future and put it in.
Yeah.
I thought one Z3 at 77 may have had MLA. I was fairly certain the 88 did not have it. I was told they both have it, which I don't think is possible because they'd have to. That means it's a software adjustment versus a technology.
And hey, KG, we're at Caesars here near the. I shouldn't say where we're at because we're going to be swamped, but we're right off of the Uber, Lyft, rideshare area. So if you come off the Uber, Lyft, we're at the Starbucks right here near the Sbarro. And
Sbarro, it's Tafara.
It's the
Little Orange Julius over here. Look at one of these burgers.
Orange Julius.
They don't make those anymore.
I know. Hey, Jesse, thank you for that super chat. Between the TCL and Hisense TVs you guys saw, which of these brands TVs impressed you?
We didn't go to TCL yet.
We haven't been at TCL yet because it was just packed and our schedule was for tomorrow.
Yeah.
But 110 inch, just as a size, I'm not talking image quality. 110 inch is impressive. That is a large TV. And so if you are looking for something larger than 98 inch, obviously it's your only choice. Now, between the 98 inch, I'll tell you, TCL appears to have the most 98 inch options out there in terms of pricing. Hey, you know what? I barely got 2 cents together. They have a low end, no mini LED, edge lit, 98 inch. And as you go up, we have the top of the line QM8 equivalent, 98 inch, or better than the QM8 possibly. So we're going to talk to Bruce number 2 at TCL tomorrow and find out.
But isn't it funny how nobody cared about big TVs when they were expensive?
Well,
now everyone's like, well, I don't like big TVs. Remember, big TVs are stupid. Remember, people say, oh, big TVs are stupid. Why? Because they were 20 grand. Now they're $200. You're like, oh, I'll take 9 of them.
That goes to Getty G. I think it's his fault. You know how
it's your fault. You wanted like an OLED.
It's like lemmings, right? Getty's like, FOMO. I'm thinking of the 77 A95L.
So what's funny too is when we're talking to the Samsung guy, he was like, well, hey, Jessica, is that another chick in there? Nice.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Will Sony bring back a new 8K? Now you did it.
I called her.
I bring her. I bring her on. You don't even read her question. Like, oh, it's a good one.
I think that we're so happy. I think our analytics are 1.5 each.
Mine's 0.5%.
He got 1.5.
He's got 3 times more females than I do. So Jessica, will Sony
Hi, Jessica. My sister's name is Jessica. I didn't mean to say anything by it.
Will Sony bring back a new 8K TV this year?
If they can do what LG's doing and bring the Z9L over, I don't see them doing that because
we don't know anything though. They won't talk 2024 TVs here.
They won't. But I don't see them doing that. Though I don't know. It would be an easy sell. It's just
they're probably waiting for this real backlight master drive to finish and then put it on their 8K.
Yeah, I mean that'll be a must. I mean, when you see what this thing can do, it's
a must-have.
I mean, Rob said the minute he saw when they cut it, he called me up and was like, "You guys got to see this." Which, and I'm telling you, seeing what the local dimming was doing, it was just shaping the image. And on the Samsung, it was just blue, no matter what we saw. So,
this is a good question, Christian.
Hey, Christian, how are you, man?
First CES, were TCL and Hisense products excited me more? Yeah, we're pretty surprised about that.
Yeah,
going to buy a QM8 or a UX 100 inch. The UX 100 inch we saw in person for the first time, and they set it up as a gaming TV.
Oh, that was.
What did you think? Now we're just talking image quality, not latency.
It did look really good. See, the weakness of the UX last year was it just wasn't really a finished product in terms of its gaming was kind of tacked on. Right. I don't think it had the extra.
No. It was the U8K we saw.
It was the U8K. I'm sorry.
We saw the U8K.
It was a U8K. We thought it was a UX.
TV, right. Now, to correct you, Christian, the UX is a 110 inch or a 98 inch. So depending on the size of your home or your budget, 98 inch or 110. 98 inch is 5,000 nits, 10,000 dimming zones. 110 inch. For an extra 10 inches, you're getting 40,000 dimming zones, 10,000 nits.
Go to this one, please.
This one? This one?
No, the next one now. Oh, hey, what's up? Yay. How are you? Sony Pony. Go to Bad Tech.
Which one?
Are we giving LG a pass?
Let's talk about this.
I will tell you this. You've never heard us give them a pass.
They win by default.
We've been hammering them. We had the C4 as like a left alone child in the street.
No, let's talk about the C4 because obviously.
Let's talk about the C3 too. Okay. It's the same thing.
You didn't catch us. Very disappointed.
Even our report card on last year was we hammered C3.
So C3 and C4. C3 last year was left behind a little bit. We understand. First year of the MLA, but they both had the same alpha processor.
Yes.
This year, G4 gets the XR Clear alpha processor. That's how I'm describing it. Because all the things they're doing is what Sony did last year that elevated them. And we're like, yes, at least the C4 will stay relevant for those who don't need that brightness. Nope. It's very similar to last year's Alpha 9.
Not only did it get demoted, it lost its job, but it had to work for free. It literally was like, hey, you know what? You were the elite. I mean, it's still going to be beautiful. They say it's brighter.
What is it? coming to America. When you think of trash, think of a heap.
It's a haircut, $7. That'll be $7. It's disappointing because I wanted some type of MLA on it, but to FOMO's point, we thought more realistic to have the right processor.
Yes.
At least we could have
that. Would have
that
been a good win.
because that's what made the A80L jump the C3. It's what made the X90L jump the U7K, U8K, and even the QME. If at least it had that, you could say, well, the C4 is great, but it's got this.
I thought
It doesn't have that at all now.
I really thought there was enough separation with brightness.
Yes.
G4, 3,000 nits, C4, 1,000 nits, whatever, because so many of you are like, I don't need that brightness, but I would like the processor, and then end up going and get a Sony. The C4 could have been that alternative.
Well, and XR Clear sold the A80L because it had that. It wasn't because it was brighter. It was just a better image. The C4, it got beat up between the A80L and the S90.
Now I'm going to call the C4 the poor man's Dolby Vision. And I can't even call it the poor man's Dolby Vision.
It's a shame.
Because it's expensive.
It's expensive.
So
they're both more expensive than the S90C right now. And the S90C, we had a comment the other day that if the S90C stays the same, it's still ahead because the C4 didn't change. So the S90C is still going to win by default.
How did he know what the Caesar's foreign food court? Is it the song selection?
Wrap it up. We're out of here.
I know. Let's get out of here before we get hit. Is it the Defara?
Do they say don't film in your house because your address is behind you? Oh, you live right across from Uno's.
Oh, wait. Here's one. For their giveaway, it looks like T-Cell's 115-inch will be $20,000. So,
that's
if a 115-inch is coming, Hisense is like up, back to now. We're already having a price war at the 110, 115-inch. I don't know about the 115-inch yet, so I'll find out tomorrow.
Let's do 1997. What do you think?
Yeah, 19,097.
I can't wait to see what you guys do with these TVs when you move.
I do.
Hey, you're gonna take my TV to the wall.
Yeah. And I don't think Best Buy has a room. We're not going to see a 100-inch at Best Buy unless it draws people in. But you know what's
the same point? What are you gonna do with it?
Yes. Double tap to the chest.
Oh,
does that mean
that's
Classy?
so classy.
Does that mean Classy likes it?
No. So classy. I said this yesterday. FOMO shot it down. So the S90C, because it didn't have dropouts because of the One Connect box, people went to it. Now, I'm just saying. I think what you're saying is what I said. Not only does this thing still have a One Connect box, now it's matte. So the S90 is like, come to Papa. Right. Come to Papa. I don't have any of that crap. And how is the lower end TV glossy? How is the low end glossy?
What have you always said about Samsung? Their second tier flagship has always been awesome.
It used to be the best. Yeah, the Q8FN.
Q8FN, right?
Well, lately it hasn't.
QDR was great.
They kind of stopped there though.
Yeah.
It hasn't. Well, 85 is good.
Well, now the QN90B was pretty good.
Yep.
And now it's the S90D and S90C. So
I don't know how we're still standing, by the way, but we're actually not standing.
Oh, look. Mac was even saying 90D is a glossy version. Just go the other way.
Well, it depends on which size you have.
Yeah. And let's see. Hey, thank you for our super chat, Dan Becker. QN90C versus the X95L, 85 inches.
X95L.
$1,000 difference.
X95L. QN90C was not equal to it. I'll go QN95C if you want to match them up. Go on my channel and see that, but then the prices will be closer. The QN90C was not, in my opinion, at the same level. Where in years past they were similar, I think that's clear. We saw QN90C get beat up tonight against an X95L in their prototype. That was a 90C. Hashtag nice.
Oh, Linus paid for the TCL to come from China. 115-inch, you paid $11,000.
Yeah, that TV might not have anything in it. It might just be a panel. He probably has a hamster.
Does he have Google TV on it? Excuse me. Grayson Gutzmer, thank you for that super chat. Won't the matte S95B give it away in the TV shootout of the year? Well, actually, let's talk about the shootout. No,
that is that
this.
would be Vincent's, but
imagine? How do I blind test the S95C? Like everyone comes.
So what do you guys think? Pretty good. Like, yo, that is the comment of the year. Well, the year just started. That is a great
It's
question.
already started.
So we're having you guys in today. It's going to be a blind shootout. I like the Samsung. It's the one that looks like a piece of paper, construction paper.
Now, speaking of the shootout, we have to bring the A95. We have to
That is a great question.
the double. It ruined the double blind. And
So,
wait, no. This is why Samsung did it. You had double blind.
I got you. Whatever you need, I got you covered. You like the One Connect box? I hate it. I got you. Don't worry. We'll do a better one, bigger.
You want
We'll do
you want
two.
you want you know what? For more 4K, 8K only
8K
gets the
only.
AI.
You think it's dead? I got you. No, I can't afford it. You'll be okay.
Now,
Oh my God.
what will Sony bring to the shootout? We might have to roll out the
Damn thing.
retired A95L.
A95K will be like, hey, Z9D.
It'll be my guess G4 A95L because with the updates, right now Classy and I know some weaknesses. We're going to use new material that will expose its weaknesses, and if they don't address it between now and the shootout, it's going to be a bill to pay.
They have time.
And then the S95C, of course, or maybe you will say, no, we want the S90D. Put in the S90D. So we'll see.
He said double tap to the chest. That's not even to the head where you die instantly.
Hey, tell me, do you see transparent OLEDs catching
No
on?
chance in hell.
No. I think it's designed for hotels and business rooms and the like.
Well, we saw the transparent micro LED was really cool. It had sports application where the sport, like 3D, the scores were ahead. The LG one was cool, but I don't know why anyone would pull the black out of an image and then just look at a flat transparent image. It's not really that cool. So it's a very 10-minute experience.
Caleb seems to like the S95B anti-glare.
That's not what he said to us. He was like, this thing's a piece of... I'm just kidding. We haven't talked TVs once since you got here.
Now, to be fair, he's not the only one, right? I think if you read flatpanelshd.com,
He's not been hitting the sauce. No alcohol in this
he
trip.
seems to like the S95B anti-glare. So, like I said, I think the anti-glare will be a big hit among the common man who doesn't know anything about.
I like how you call it
blacks.
anti-glare. You haven't called it matte once.
I'm just copying that dude. Anti-glare.
He calls it anti-glare. I'm like, it's just matte.
Anti-reflection,
It's
right?
matte.
And
I'm gonna call it construction.
but he's convinced that, you know what, it may be its undoing, and I really don't know.
I think it's gonna.
I like choices though. I give the S90D myself, but I like choices.
You're gonna do it to the flagship,
Right?
to the high-end one.
Well, that's the thing. Matte costs more money though.
Oh, now
Matte does cost more money, so
it's
cheaper.
granular.
It's cheaper to do, just a regular standard semi-gloss, right? To do matte, the frame is expensive, probably because it has that more expensive coating. So it's kind of like you're paying more to see less.
And you can actually scratch it. It's rough texture.
Or if you leave scratches, all it's the same.
Okay, Mark thinks I'm drinking. I'd rather have that than me falling asleep out of my chair like I was the other night.
It's like a Diet Cokes.
Brian, you mentioned the Z3 in your LG video.
Is it finally coming with the new MLA?
It is coming.
But not the new MLA. Because it's the Z3 has Z3
It would have last
year.
year's MLA. Yeah.
So how LG is very predictable. They're 3, 4, 5. It matches the year of release. That's the model year for now. So the Z3 is a 2023 model. Unless we hear otherwise, we're going to have to assume it's last year's MLA.
So the challenge they're going to have, though, is if it's last year's MLA and it doesn't have the new processor, if that processor is as effective as XR Clear, it claims to be more effective. It's very hard to recommend paying $30,000 for a Z3 with last year's MLA and the old processor.
Right. Yeah.
Because then you're paying just for 8K and the size.
That's all you're doing.
Very hard to recommend because the 77 is very expensive, 15, 16 grand. 30,000 for the 88. It's a hard sell.
I say image quality on a G4 83 inch. It's going to look phenomenal. Don't even think about that 8K. But your follow-up about phosphorescent OLED blue, nobody we talked to mentioned it at all. And I mean, they don't need to, by the way. And the reason is they're able to push these additional brightness, image quality without using it. They'll do it. Phosphorescent blue has two issues. One, it's expensive. It just released. Number two, it just released. That means they haven't had enough time to test it. They will spend all this year testing it. But my understanding, based on what's coming out of Korea, is at least Samsung will be using it for their phones first. So if you hear phosphorescent blue or blue phosphorescent OLED, you'll hear about the RGB OLED phones using it before you hear about TVs using it. But I can be surprised. Maybe
We're so
2025.
impatient. We're like, I want that right now. Micro LEDs come at what, 2035?
They're skipping the 3,000 nit QD OLED.
You're like 3,000. Yeah, I know, right? And 4,000.
Hisense has shown a 110UX in a promo, in its promo, with legs on top of a console type setup. It will be available without the console and mounted. So yes, so it's very interesting.
Yeah.
The console actually is its legs. So if it's sold with a console, it feels like it's planted into the console.
Yeah.
Then they have a version with legs on top of a console. Then they have a version with just legs. And so they're going through the different variations. And I told them that for the American market, the USA market,
Separated.
definitely separate everything. With legs, console separated.
Well, they had a very cool spatial surround system with a camera.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Very cool, very impactful. Using the camera versus the sound,
The microphone itself.
acoustic.
So we got it. I mean, this is amazing.
But their question was they also, not question, they're considering perhaps selling that package with a TV.
With the console.
And the TV.
And the TV. So
Which would make it infinitely more expensive.
We saw a 98-inch US, right? The 98-inch was on the console, but what was amazing was the surround system. You got the console, which is the front, center, left, right speaker. You have the surround wireless, but the amazing part was a camera on top of the TV that did a AI analysis of.
I can already tell you the camera thing's going to be a problem.
I know. They did analysis of your living room.
Put a piece of tape over it.
Your couch, everything. Once they've identified what everything is,
what you're watching,
then they calibrate your room to everything in the room. Yeah. Normally, it's a microphone. They're using visual AI, but like what you said, maybe just run the calibration, take off the camera.
Yeah, I mean, these TVs, the Samsung one, it basically would play whatever was in your pocket when you walk in the house. It just goes right on the TV. You're like, hey, honey, sorry about that.
This is a good question for the common man. If it wasn't for the hype of being here and the excitement and the amazing food, the halal guys,
the
Faro pizza, right?
Bobby's Burger,
would we still be excited about seeing these new TVs? Would we be impressed with what's going down? So let's talk about just take a step back, remove ourselves from CES. What impressed you the most? One thing from all the brands that you saw, what impressed you?
Well, I mean, let's take it different for 1 second. We know there's a lot of media people that do this, that's their job, and incremental upgrades aren't going to excite them. We are so passionate about this. I'm excited. Having the matte finish excites me because we're a story.
It excites you to
take a hammer to it, but we're all about the trajectory of this. So if it wasn't for the hype, I mean, I wouldn't come here and watch a bunch of headphones or dishwashers. But we are TV guys. I love TVs, so I'm here for that reason. And they are better, but
dishwashers.
I mean, if I'm saying
dishwasher convention,
the Bosch, Bosch, Whirlpool. No, I mean, but this is the thing. We chose to do this job. We chose to grow our channels. It's not like I worked for Bosch and said, "Oh my God, I love dishwashers." You know, we chose to do this part time. We spent our money out of pocket to come here, so. I'm excited about it all. I mean, there are some things less exciting, of course.
But the most exciting then, because obviously, if you're excited about it all, what's the one thing
I personally really liked what they're doing with 8K. I really liked Samsung finally using their AI super resolution, because if they can do that, they can't do it in gaming, I don't think, because of the input lag. But really upscaling and super resolution would truly bring your content to look 8K. That's what they always say. They're looking to really create that.
And let's give context to why he's saying that. We were at Samsung's innovation room, and in the innovation room, they had the IMAX, not just an IMAX cameraman or videographer. He built
the Avatar cameras for Avatar 2.
Cameras for Avatar 2 for James Cameron. He makes cameras for IMAX. He shoots for IMAX. He is IMAX's cinematographer, documentary guy, right? And he was explaining that 8K is just not higher resolution. It's a completely different way of shooting. He says people who just convert 4K to 8K content, they're missing the point. And I completely
Dimensionality
agree.
was you were saying.
He says 8K brings in such detail that you have to slow everything down. First, is this movie or concept appropriate for 8K? The detail, is it about that detail? As you know, IMAX
tell them about that picture with the tombstones and the books.
Well, yes,
and,
so
and that was very
from
impactful.
there, so he uses the Samsung as his, I guess, mastering TV for his 8K movies, and he showed demos where, okay, this is the latest generation, right? The one we're getting this year, the 900D.
Oh yeah. Oh, what we saw there was.
And then he took 1080p versions of different movies, and the one we saw was from the Umbrella Academy, near the end, and she's standing on a library of books.
Those episodes?
I remember that one.
Episode 7.
And then it's like all these books, and the 1080p native 1080p feed, you could barely make out the text, right? I mean, it was fine, but the text, okay. But then on the 8K, not only was everything clear when they upscaled to 1080p because the AI filled in the missing dots. And he explained, in the AI system, there's an object module that identifies words and things, and they will create the fill-in images based on real images. Like, oh, that's a K. We'll make it into a K. And I was saying, wait a minute. If it's creator's intent that you can't read the text, you're literally reversing everything he's done.
So it's funny, in Jurassic Park, when they made the T-Rex, those guys wrote their names in the scales. That would be like FOMO was here on the side of the T-Rex. Oh my God, they can't even see that.
And of course, Samsung stepped in, no. We will respect the field of view. Sure. So the background is fuzzy.
Yeah, you can't just have like...
Okay, the funny part was, technically, we could fill all of that in.
We could make it all sharp.
Oh, that's Mount Fuji? That's Fuji, right?
Yeah, bizarre that would look.
They already did that with the moonshot. You take a picture of the moon, fill in the details, right? And so they could do that with almost anything. So there's a team in Korea that has all these objects from everything around the world. And if they recognize that object, like for example, let's say they recognize me, I'm in the background. That's FOMO. Let's clear that up, and you can see him in the background, right? That's kind of cool. I love Samsung display going from just barely below 2,000 nits to 3,000 nits in 1 year. That's impressive. That tells you how early we are in this generation of QD OLED. And that's why they haven't touched phosphorescent OLED or blue OLED. They're using phosphorescent OLED for red and green, yes. Phosphorescent blue is not used anywhere, including phones. But we don't know when it's going to come to the phone. I suspect maybe next year, not this year. So yeah, those are the few things that excited us, for sure. And thank you for that super chat, Ray Gassini. Why is it that Samsung can produce QD OLED much cheaper than LG can produce WOLED? Not to mention, LG has been at it for 10 plus years. So a few things. LG, okay, so I don't know exactly how much it costed. Remember, you're assuming that Samsung Display is not selling it a lot less than they should. Maybe they're removing a lot of margin. Maybe they're trying to get excitement. I also am very surprised. And also, LG Display has much more capacity. You would think with all that volume, right, and all that yield, it would be less expensive. But ultimately, it ends up being similar, if not more. I don't know. I mean, that's something that puzzles me as well.
And we're not sure they were able to really be more efficient with the process. I mean, they said that they were more efficient, but more importantly, the prices of them came down so much.
And it continues to drop this year.
So they made them more efficient, but they couldn't make them cheaper by a lot. But the prices went way down, so they were pinched. QD OLED is new in a sense.
How can a new technology be cheap to begin with? Remember, the S90C, by the end of the year, or by, I'd say, Prime Day, just after Prime Day, $2,000. Yeah. And by Black Friday, it was $1,800 for the 77-inch. Many people got it.
They had to be taking a huge loss on them. I'm sorry.
Will Sony have a 65-inch mini LED this year? I'm sure they will. The question is, will it have the new prototype?
No. It's not. They just showed it to me cut in half.
Yeah,
it's not coming.
The new one isn't coming, but the mini LED.
So I would expect the entire Sony lineup to look like last year's, minus the A95L successor. You're going to see a new X95. You said OLED was dead, not mini LED was dead.
No,
you're going to see a 65-inch.
Oh wait, right after I said OLED was dead, all the news came out. 3,000 in. I'm like,
Maybe.
Who knew? Could be. 4,000 nits, maybe not so far off after all.
We just got the 2,000 nits, by the way.
Samsung might be selling with less margin to take market share from LG.
They definitely are.
And so this is what I don't understand. If Samsung is selling with less margin, which they are, how is it they make money? Whereas LG Display is selling with more margin and actually losing money. Something is not adding up to me. And that's what confuses me. I'm assuming it sells with less margin, but I don't understand that LG Display is losing money hand over fist in the last 6 quarters.
Well, and from what we could gather from Samsung displays, the applications are boundless.
Yeah.
And they're probably more flexible looking to do that. Where I think Samsung displays was a little slow with bringing OLED. They should have brought OLEDs to monitors years ago.
Right.
And they just started doing that in the last few years.
Oh,
QD OLED's there now.
They look great.
So think about QD OLED came out, S95B, monitors. Oh, here's more monitors. Oh, here's a reference monitor. OLEDs have been around forever. And they're like, OLED, OLED, you know what I'm saying? Like, so they were quick to it. They found more applications.
They have a very aggressive product team for sure.
And they built on what someone else had already done. They improved upon it. They didn't create it, I guess. So, it's like Jurassic Park.
I think we are giving Taurus some budgeting problems. He says, since I found
Is this the inches thing again? Is his wife's inches?
His wife.
That's not Terrace.
That's friends in Philippines. Friend list from the Philippines. Yeah, don't confuse them, man. No, Taurus.
Hi, Terrace. She's like, what are you talking about my wife? Go to food court.
Since I found you 2 a month ago, my wallet is 7,000 lighter.
So,
83-inch 80L, the A90K 42-inch Sony bars, subs, rears, the whole shebang.
Whoa.
Seeing your stuff at CES, I'm getting a back case of promo. It's another 7,000.
In that case, after you just spent all that.
Have fun, guys. And this is why we're here. Many of you have not spent 7,000, but you're ready to.
Yeah.
Maybe 1,000. We're gonna find a TV that fits your budget, and at worst, our favorite TV for under $400, TCL.
What I love is his comment, though, is he's happy.
Yes.
He's happy. You guys are mad because you almost bought something. He's happy.
Well, remember, I tell you guys this all the time. I still watch a qned in one room, and the A95K now is in my bedroom. And so I'm watching these old TVs. I'm seeing how things change. The qned is starting to show its age, though. The tone mapping is not keeping up with content for sure. I'm seeing clipping on The Witcher. So definitely, I think 2018 tone mapping is falling behind, or 2019.
What are you listening to?
80s. This is truly 80s. Let's keep on talking before I get copyrighted for 80s retro
Fame.
music.
Oh my God.
Guys, so know that Sony is not bringing out a new flagship OLED. Does this mean a new winner at the shootout?
They have one. It's called the A95L.
So here's something to think about, John. And I know what we always talk about, firmware updates. The A95L was released with early firmware. That was imperfect. Now, if they can perfect that firmware by the time we have the shootout again, and I believe it's more of a 2024 model.
It is.
It'll be back, of course.
Come on, October.
But can the G4 address the uniformity issue? G4 or G3 got hit because of the color shift or the banding.
Still have the banding.
And the G2 as well. If the G4 is clean, I think it can win. If the G4 is dirty,
it's already won. It's over.
It's won your hearts.
It's already won.
Yep.
By default, because of the matte. What's up, Matt?
The G4 with the A11 chip could at least win or tie the streaming part of the competition. Because we break up the competition.
Yeah, that's where XR Clear got hit and one of the other parts.
Yeah.
It might be. I mean, I'm telling you guys, when you see what Samsung's doing with the 8K, there's got to be purists that are going to go, oh my God, I don't want that.
Yep,
Yeah, I know a lot of people are not going to like. I can say with the 8K one, you can disable it.
Right.
You can actually hear it.
I'm going to get hit right now. Just like they pulled me from Mario Brothers.
You want to put the lyrics up on the screen?
Let's start singing together.
Gotta live for
Let's
you.
go flooding. Hey, thank you for the follow-up super chat, Jason. I have years of experience selling TVs, and sadly, most folks would rather buy a mediocre TV from Samsung than anything good from TCL and Hisense. Embrace it. This is the point, right? TCL and Hisense only in the last 3 years, TCL with the 6 series and Hisense with the 8 series, did they really bring it to them.
Yeah.
And maybe in 2016, 2014, when they came to the USA, yeah, they were not so great. But now, wow, they're playing with the big boys.
Well, so FOMO's favorite company of all time, Vizio, was in this spot a number of years ago.
They're not even at CES.
Yeah, but they're not even there at Radio Shack. But they had it to where, for a while there, when I was trying to defend them, was do you want an edge-lit, low-end Samsung or Sony versus a full array 4,000 nit, or 3,000 nit Vizio?
Would it talk louder? I think the Four Seasons could be very aggressive.
Oh my God! But the point is, yeah, they're also getting there with the processing. So
yeah, they're there. I say they are officially here this year because of the price they're charging. Yes, it's 100 inches or 98 or 110, but the fact that a T7 or Hisense is costing more than $3,000, would have thought, and more importantly, you guys, I know, never would have considered it. But now that they're improving the processing incrementally, you're at the point where, hey, it's an option.
Well, I mean, we talked about that with the UAK last year. The QM8, some of the things you couldn't disable, people struggled with, but overall, they were both more vibrant than the X90.
Yeah. And Taurus wants to let you know, I'm happy. My wife, not so much.
No, mine either. Here I am hanging out with this guy for a week.
She was like, what are you doing? Are you in a strip club? No, I'm working.
Oh, got it. Well, like Zafara Pizza. We did have a lovely dinner last night.
Okay. GE and Bosch dishwasher booth walkthrough.
I got you.
Is there a
we're going to do that
forum?
There's this one. I'm sure there is. I walked by a couple dishwashers.
Dishwasher forum. Pushing Polygons, thank you for that super chat. Have either of you seen the Alienware QD monitors? I don't think Alienware or /Dell is where we are in the main hall. I'm sure they're somewhere else. So we haven't seen it. But 240 hertz, this is a standard put out by Samsung Display. So the panel itself is capable of 240, 32. So you can see a lot of brands putting out there. Luckily, this thinking has less than 10,000. Actually, we had a conversation. I spoke to Bob at DSCC, the analyst that predict micro LED. And when I first talked to him, he was like, yeah, I see it 10 years away. Now he's like, no, it looks more like the later end.
No, he said,
years.
He goes 2030. But like, nice. He goes, no, I'm thinking like 2039. I was like, damn.
So it's a lot farther than we had expected. And it's mostly it's very expensive to do what they did. We were in the innovation room. Again, it is so hard to get the pixels placed properly at that size.
Over the micro LED?
Micro LED.
So micro LED, he broke out this little, I wouldn't say it was a test tube, this little tiny flask type thing. Vial, and it was an entire 4K micro LED, and it was half a salt shaker at that.
Yeah.
The problem I have with the monitors with QD OLED is they're not bright. So,
yeah.
Why would I buy, other than an ultra wide, I don't know why they're not bright. So I'd like to get one that's bright. I would have bought that ultra wide last year. It was like 200 nits or 300 nits. Are you out of your mind?
Yeah, it's interesting that the TVs were the same panel. So I can ask you wrong why that is, and that's what the potential.
You don't blame it on them. I don't know. The left here was fine.
Right. 22 Samsung gave us the beta. 2023 they gave us the complete. Now 2024 they gave us the D.
The Classy's on fire tonight.
The D.
Give me the D.
B, C, D. And I suspect that is implying the grade they're going to get for their matte screen.
Classy has the equipment all ready to rock.
What's funny is we haven't received the final product yet, and it's getting killed. You know what's going to happen? You're going to see a bunch of fingerprints pulling off this
yeah, dude.
Screen.
Exactly. You imagine when you unwrap it, you're like, oh, it's got this black plastic on it.
Hey, he wants you to know the quantum dot ultra wide is bright enough.
Here's the thing. I think the 880L is bright enough. That doesn't mean a lot. Tell me what the measurement is. If you're telling me it's 300 nits and that's bright enough for you, that's not what an QD OLED should be, 1,000 or 2,000 nits. So I appreciate it's bright enough for you, but the 880L, the C1 is bright enough for me, but it's not a QD OLED. So I appreciate what you're saying, but that doesn't mean anything to me. It's got to be measured to let me know what it is.
Latin Gringo says, what are we thinking? The Samsung's Premier 8K, that's that ultra short throw 8K. Also, would it be better at 150-inch than the TC150? So I'll answer the last question first. Yes, absolutely. If you need the size, if you appreciate the size, it in a dim room, perfect. It gets bright enough, it looks great, all that, but it's not going to have the HDR impact. So if you're sitting 14 feet away, no doubt, get the 150 inch because that immersion really brings the movies home. Now, if you're at 11 feet away, 10 feet away, consider the TCL 115 inch if it's for Sony USA because that size, distance, brightness, HDR impact is going to be phenomenal, and you can watch it in a bright room. We saw the Samsung premiere, and the room was somewhat well lit. Brian didn't like the washed out. I mean, he thought it was just. You have the micro LED here, you have the OLED here, and then you have this in between them. I'm like, man, that's not a good look.
I liked it better than when I saw them demo it. I liked it better on the showroom floor. I didn't think it was a problem. But it was when they demoed it for me that I was like, oh, I'm worried. And look, I think it's fine. It's just.
But they didn't demo the 8K projector. They demoed the other one.
Oh, okay.
The freestyle, so it's okay.
Oh, yeah, well, they weren't even, yeah. You got to turn the lights down there. What's up, Dylan?
Still looking to upgrade my 75-inch Q60T. Oh, wait, before we get there, I was going to finish this. Simply to consider that Hisense and Samsung did. That's very interesting. They had multiple, you can have multiple projectors next to each other to make it even bigger because supercomputing will matrix everything. So what Hisense did was that you had one, that's 16 by 9. You put a second one next to it, it becomes CinemaScope. The way they merged it.
It was very cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very cool because it's also these things you can build upon. You want the thing larger, you buy yourself another component.
Yep. Dylan says, thank you for the super chat. Still looking to upgrade from my 75-inch Q62. S95-65 is too small. We're thinking G4 83-inch or 77-inch S90. Yeah, I can't go down to. Is Brian getting the 83? Is it worth the price? Wow, this is great. So you have 75. Definitely go a little bit bigger. Now, the 77 is kind of like a side upgrade.
It's like my parents are behind us.
No.
Look at that.
The 83-inch. Okay, is it worth the price? It is definitely brighter than the A80L, mostly because it has MLA, and if this is a better MLA. Now, is it worth the price? Is it worth it to you, Dylan? Because if you can afford it, that brightness is what you're paying for. But if you don't need the brightness, then get the C3, C4. Now, I noticed it's like small living room. Oh, too small for a living room. Yeah.
And plus, Dylan, I mean, you bought your TV 12 years ago. I bought mine 3 months ago. For me, it's probably not going to be worth it. For you, get the money, bro. Buy it.
Yep.
Do not go backwards. Do not go down.
Yeah.
I would suggest, and I don't think 77 inch is going to be a big enough jump for you because your Q60 has a large bezel. It's going to feel similar size to the 77. You'd have to jump to 83.
Go for the impact.
G4, baby.
And the G4 has probably still the 5-year panel warranty that
It's a
no
beast.
other TV
The
has.
G4 is brighter than your Q60.
Oh.
By
the
a lot.
G4.
Here we are,
Where's
recommending a
Hughes?
G4, baby.
Our first recommendation. Already, it's not even out yet. And speaking of G4, we're going to have the G4 at Robert Zone's Value Electronics for an early comparison against the G3, maybe the A95L.
A95L will definitely be there.
The Samsung S95B matte, if we can get it. S95B matte.
Can't wait.
Can't wait.
You need to put it in the sun.
And or the S90B, can't wait to bring it over there. So these early comparisons will give you an idea of what they need to do to win the shootout or win your hearts and use case.
I know the comparison we need to do.
What?
S95D versus the frame. What?
What?
Who's more matte, baby? Right? We'll put artwork up.
Right. Like, wait, that's just a brighter frame.
I like the TV, but I'm just kind of projecting what you guys have been hammering me with in the last 2 days.
I bought 4 TVs in the last 3 years.
Attaboy.
55-inch, 42-inch, 55. So C1, 42-inch C2, 55-inch Q95B guest room, 35-inch X95K in the living room. I still want to upgrade full mode.
What rooms do you have left?
bathroom. Move the
You're like-
42 into the bathroom.
You always got to pivot.
Get a QD OLED monitor.
Go in the garage. Put
QD
that
OLED
over there.
monitor,
In the kitchen is where you got to put the littlest one.
right? The guest room. So if you have kids now,
He bought 4 TVs in the last 3 years. Wow.
sounds like us.
It is us. The problem is,
Every year.
yeah,
I want Vizio OLED Gen 2. Keep on dreaming, man. You're still in Gen 1.
yeah. Is he being funny, you think?
All right. How long have we been at? Oh, hour 15. We're going to wrap up in about 15 minutes, my friend.
We're having fun now, too.
I know. And he hasn't had a drink yet. You got to get the halal guys. Get us some halal beer. Matte finish is good for monitors, but not for TVs. Okay, this is a good discussion here. You're a PC gamer. Do you find that matte monitors, you prefer that?
I don't game on a monitor. I game on a
Right.
TV. I want it glossy, baby. I don't like matte. I just.
Ryan, is it possible for
So
you
Chris
this
is
year-
speaking my language. See, this is how things work, my friend. 80J is 77. That's a baby size now.
Yep, yep.
So that one will go in one of the kids' rooms. So you can see where the 880L may jump on that wall. No, that's not how it would work. The 880L would jump on that wall. Now, that wouldn't work either. The C1 would go to the apartment.
There you go.
The
Well-
880L goes on the wall. The G4 goes in the basement.
But doesn't your apartment have multiple walls? Can you have more TVs on all your walls?
Yeah, I could do that, I guess. But
There you go.
the 8. You guys want to buy an 880J?
You know, for a second, I thought NMAX said no Mattel. Oh, it's no Mac.
No Mac, no Mattel.
He's against Barbie, right? Well, you guys are here in Forest. Thank you for joining us, friends. Let's see. How much y'all dropped to attend CES this year? So CES for the media, for digital content creators, influencers, is free. They want us here to cover and show everything, but it's free to get in. It still costs money to fly here. So
My room was $2,500.
Nice,
My flight
sweet.
was $2,000. So
No.
just that
Yeah, just
coming here, and I bought the room was months ago.
But I
and-
did use the $5 that Scott sent me to get Brian
Some onion
coffee.
rings.
No, skewers. I got a chicken skewer. It partly paid for an $8
So I
chicken
mean,
skewer.
I'm not saying that because it's something to be proud of. It's the
what you gotta
expense. I mean, I'll spend $4,000. I'll make not a dime here. I'm not at that level to make money here, and that's okay. But I mean,
It's out of love.
But I'll invest in M-Wave. I'll go there and spend a few $1,000s on my hotel room. You know, the hotels are just they're all making their money back for being closed for so long. I understand that. My room is very nice. I thought I was staying in a tell me about the room because I thought I was staying in a so I got my room. I was like, wow, it's expensive. It said it was a studio. And then FOMO goes, well, my room is like half the price. They're virtually the same. Now go.
They're not virtually the same. I mean, my room is nice. I go into his room. You got one bed and 2 toilets.
2 toilets, 2 showers.
Like, I don't understand. It's a studio for 2 people. You got one bed.
That's to let your hooker go take a shower. You go in the other shower, sweetheart.
And not only that, the elevator is secure. My elevator, any hobo could go up and down.
So they want to see your security card from far away. When FOMO and I go to his room, he goes, I don't have security over here. He doesn't have any Wi-Fi either.
I got nothing.
That's why I'm here.
And it's literally the tower next to his, except my tower's got nothing.
Lord of the Rings.
I'm in the Julius. He's in the Palace Fine Dining Champagne Tower.
TV's garbage, though.
Oh, look. They were all on sale, so I never paid full price, looking for good deals.
Nobody ever pays full price.
Well, I try not to pay full price at CES, but they hit you on the water, they hit you on everything.
Classy. We'll go back.
Next, we get the OLED Terrace. 4,000 nit OLED. That is it.
Classy talking smack.
Maybe he's here having too much to drink.
That's awesome.
What type of room costs? No, it's for the whole week, Michael. Not per
Yeah,
night.
not at night. I'm in Vegas. Where do you think I'm at? Kansas?
You know, what is it, Monte Carlo?
Yeah,
2,600
exactly.
per night.
I'm in Vegas. It's not a night, my friend.
Wow.
I'll gladly send you the bill if you want to pay for it.
Per night is nice. Per night. Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. I mean, it's nice.
Wait.
It's not like that.
thoughts on the price of the Premier 8K? Yeah, it's going to be several thousand. So my guess, probably 5,000 or 6,000 at least. For no more, because the Premier 4K is 5,000. The US, the ultra short throw, probably 9,000, 8 or 9,000. Yes, I don't know. But the first Premiere at 4K was 4,000, right? 4 to 5. So this is going to have to be 7 to 8 at least. Wouldn't it be funny if it had Dolby Vision?
By accident.
Yep. Right. Got to have dancing girls. Got to have maids and a family moved in with you for that price.
Told me stop being cheap.
That's right.
And no, we're not partying. Someone said, "Are we out drinking?" We haven't done anything but work, put up videos, and go to bed.
No can do.
The other guys are out drinking and hanging out.
Right after this, I can go edit my video.
Me too.
With Hisense, actually. We're going to wrap it up so I can do that. We were running, 90 minutes. Promo, any news on the Sony brand audio after Black Box? No, the Black Box is 100% about their brand new, awesome mini LED with the new next generation local dimming zone algorithm system. And it's hardware, not just software. Right? They're showing us the board, right? The actual board that with all the dimming zones on it. And they were telling us how it got started, like why 4,000 nits. And its direct successor, the level of control is so similar to the Z9D that they're feeling very comfortable saying this is from what we learned on the Z9D and on the dual cell master monitor. So it's not going to be cheap, but it does launch. I expect this to be an expensive TV. Not video cover, man. But audio was not mentioned. We're going to have to wait for the Sony actual event, probably in February or something like that. We'll find out more tomorrow, maybe, if they'll reveal it. All right. And okay, so what we're going to do is wrap up. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. Let's hope the gym is not packed tomorrow. Brian showed up and it was like standing room only in the gym.
Oh my God, yeah. No gym etiquette.
Yes. Tax write-off.
No, actually, it's not that.
No, Brian's rolling the
You need to
big
make
boy
more
way.
money than what you spend in order for it to be a tax write-off. I know. I'll write that off, baby. You know, the channel doesn't make that much money.
So we're going to end with this comment because it's going to happen. Former Brian will be doing a direct comparison. G4, S95.
It's in the books already, guys.
It's in the books. We're going to have Robert Zone order them, make sure it's there in his studio, and we'll be there. We'll be the first to do the comparison.
Like we were last year.
The whole weekend.
19 hours, baby.
And compare it to the A95L, the G3,
the frame, the gallery, my iPad.
All right. We'll try to be back, maybe, but we're probably not going to live stream for the rest of the week. We'll catch you guys in the live stream maybe this weekend, maybe next week.
Check out my channel, Brian's Tech Therapy. Check out my last two videos. I did a G4 and an S95D video. Check that out. Love you guys.
Yes, don't forget to click
But
like.
we will have a hardcore tech therapy video once we get home on this subject of this, if it's a mistake or not.
Oh, I thought you were going to have a hardcore tech therapy on. My
ABL?
aquarium doesn't look like an OLED.
I'm going to go back and film. I'm going to tell people it's a TV and see what they say. That thing looks fake.
It's a 1080p TV. All right, see you guys.
Bye, guys.
Stop the promo.